Urban Ministries on Sunday, I was thinking and praying about why we serve. Why is it important? Does it even matter? When I was 13, I got the opportunity to go to Nicaragua and participate in the building of a youth center in the mountains. I was excited about the thrill of traveling to a foreign place and to get to help some people. As we deplaned in Managua, Nicaragua in August and ventured across the hot tarmac into the even hotter terminal to claim our luggage, it hit me that this was going to be so much more than I had expected. Men were patrolling with machine guns, and everywhere you looked there were tall concrete walls topped with shards of broken glass for added security. When we left the airport, I was overwhelmed with ragged, ill-repaired streets, rickety, haphazard shacks, and so many dirty and disheveled children in different stages of undress in whatever rags they had. I may have been eager to help, but I had no idea what I was in for. As we climbed into a dirty, hot diesel bus alongside locals and even some animals destined for the butcher, I knew that this adventure was going to be far more than foreign lands and helping out. My deep discomfort and sense of injustice at my surroundings forced me to become aware of my privilege, of my abundance, of my selfish, stubborn teenage girlness. Far from this being a trip about how I was going to help and transform people and projects, it was becoming clear it would be me that was transformed. 13-year-old Katie about fainted with the prospect of how little I knew versus how much I thought I knew. And as I worked, ate, played, and prayed alongside my Nicaraguan hosts, I also learned how unwelcome and unnecessary my pity was. Many of the people I met carried a great joy that I could hardly fathom in the face of their poverty. That trip taught me that contrary to the cultural norms from my context, happiness was not dependent on how much I had. In fact, in the face of financial poverty, I became increasingly aware of my spiritual poverty, of the way I had made false idols out of money and clothes and Pearl Jam albums and the rest. So there's this story from the Bible where Jesus is describing what the world could be like if we all really did our best, if we all really believed we could make a difference and acted on that, if we all lived into love and abundance and hope instead of fear and scarcity. He called this version of the world the kingdom of heaven. So he says to what is presumably a large group of people who had gathered to hear him speak, he says, "I was hungry and you fed me. I was thirsty and you gave me a drink. I was homeless and you gave me a room. I was shivering and you gave me clothes. I was sick and you stopped to visit. I was in prison and you came to me." And in my mind's eye, everybody sort of looks at each other, confused and potentially ashamed, because surely he wasn't talking about them. I haven't done those things. So they ask him, "What do you mean? When did we do that?" And he says this really great line: "Whenever you did one of these things to someone overlooked or ignored, that was me. You did it to me." So by this time in his life, Jesus is pretty famous. Maybe not as famous as he is now, but he was certainly a local celebrity. He had an entourage for sure, and hordes of sandal-wearing, long-haired, bearded people who would follow him wherever he went. Kind of like fish, but with less pot, at least I assume. Anyway, any number of people would gladly have given him clothes or food or water if he needed it. But what he says is, when you do things for others, it's like doing it for me. He's pointing to the interconnectedness of us all. He's pointing to how we are transformed by doing for others when no one is watching and when there's nothing to gain from it. He's pointing to what it means to be a decent human being, to be who we know deep in our heart of hearts we are supposed to be the transformed people by the powerful act of serving someone else. So welcome, friends. Welcome to this place and to an opportunity to be transformed. Welcome to a chance to be who your deepest identity says you really are. To do some good, not out of pity, but out of the powerful interconnectedness of us all. See, what Jesus knew, and I think all of us do, is that both acts of good and of bad create ripple effects. The good news is we get a choice of which we'd like to create. To put it another way, we're all changing the world, whether we like it or not. Now, what would you like to help it become? Amen. Thanks for tuning in, friends, and for sharing this video. And as always, I invite you to come and spend some time with us. At the conclusion of this particular message, we went and painted some bedrooms at the Halifax Urban Ministries Family Shelter, and it was a really meaningful and challenging and growing experience, I think, for all of us. This coming week, we'll be doing a drum circle on the beach, and we've got another Sunday Soul Brunch coming up in a few weeks, so stay tuned to Facebook or our smartphone app or our website to find us and see all the exciting things we're doing at Missing Piece. Grace and peace, my friends.